What's up guys, and welcome to my 6.3 updated Ineffa build guide. This video will take you over everything you need to know in order to understand and build her and where to use her, including a overview / breakdown of her kit, best weapons, best artifact sets you want to use, the main stats you want to run on those artifact sets, and also the substats you want to look out for. And at the very end, I will have some team building ideas on where you can generally put her. Starting it off with her kit, you can see her normal attack string is relatively basic. All the details are on the screen as follows. Her skill deals an instant of AoE electro damage to nearby enemies and activating her optical flow shield barrier, and will summon her little helper Brigitte. The shield will absorb damage based off Ineffa's attack and will absorb electro damage with 250% effectiveness. Her ultimate will shoot Brigitte into the fray, dealing AoE electro damage and allowing Brigitte to remain on the field. If Brigitte was already on the field, having summoned by Ineffa, the skill will re-summon Brigitte at the target's location and reset her duration. Now for her passives, her A1, if there are thunderclouds created by Lunar Charged reactions nearby when Brigitte unleashes discharge attacks, she will initiate an additional attack dealing AoE electro damage equal to 65% of Ineffa's attack and is considered Lunar Charge damage. Her A4, when using Elemental Burst, all your party members will gain an effect that will increase Ineffa and your own active party members' elemental mastery by 6% of Ineffa's attack for 20 seconds. Her Moonsign passive, when a party member triggers an Electro Charge reaction, it will be converted into a Lunar Charge reaction. Every 100 attack that Ineffa does have will increase Lunar Charge base damage by 0.7% up to a maximum of 14%, and additionally, when Ineffa is in the party's Moonsign level will increase by 1. For her constellations, her first one, when Ineffa activates her shield barrier, all nearby party members will gain an effect for 20 seconds, which will increase Lunar Charge damage by 2.5% for every 100 attack that Ineffa does have, up to a maximum of 50%. For C2, after her elemental burst hits an opponent, it will inflict the punishment edict status on one of those hit enemies. After a brief delay or when the opponent is defeated, nearby opponents will take AoE electric damage equal to 300% of Ineffa's attack, and the damage will be considered Lunar Charge damage. Her ultimate also now will be able to provide the shield equivalent to the skill. Her C3 is an upgrade to her skill. Her C4, when your own party members trigger Lunar Charge reactions, recover 5 elemental energy and will occur every 4 seconds. Her C5 upgrades her ultimate, and her C6, when Ineffa is affected by the carrier flow composite effect, she deals AoE electric damage equal to 135% of her attack to opponents in the current active character's vicinity after nearby thunderclouds release bursts of lightning at opponents. The damage is considered Lunar Charge damage, and the aforementioned effect can trigger every 3.5 seconds. When looking at what weapons you want to run on Ineffa, her best one is of course her own signature option, which has a base attack of 608, which is relatively good, and also a crit damage stick of 66.2%. The effect itself will be for after when elemental skill or burst is used, attack is increased by 24% for 20 seconds. If the equipping character creates a shield while the effect is active, they will gain the electrifying edict effect for 20 seconds. All nearby party members will deal 40% more Lunar Charge damage while you do have the electrifying edict effect. Her signature of course ties perfectly into how she does play. With a solid base attack of 608, it does help you with her attack requirement to get the full effect of her passive, and Ineffa also does deal very solid amounts of damage that you do want to build crit on, and so the extra crit damage is very useful. And then when it comes to the actual effect itself, it provides an additional 24% increase to attack when using skill or burst, so you can practically have this up permanently throughout your rotations, which will further help you either get closer to the goal. Maybe you don't have it with just the weapon equipped, but once you hit this you get over the goal you do need, which I will expand more upon in the artifact section. Or it's just going to be even more attack to provide more of an EM buff to Ineffa herself and also your active party member. Ineffa also does provide a shield, so she is able to of course gain the electrifying edict effect, which will increase Lunar Charge damage by 40% for your team. Usually Ineffa will always be ran on these Lunar Charge teams, and so this is also going to greatly impact the damage of that. So in a role of also enabling Lunar Charge and also increasing the damage, this actual weapon provides so much for it and herself, making it her best in slot. Now of course you're not just locked to this option. If you have Sino Signature Weapon or Staff of the Scarlet Sands, that also does work. Lower sided base attack of 542, but a big crit rate increase of 44.1%. The effect itself will give the equipping character 52% of their elemental mastery as bonus attack. When an elemental skill hits opponents, the Dream of Scarlet Sands effect will be gained for 10 seconds, which the equipping character will gain 28% of their elemental mastery as bonus attack, maximum 3 stacks. This is actually very much usable on her as well, because now you can also opt to build more EM, and building more EM is going to give you more attack, which can help you offset the lower sided base attack this weapon does have. On top of that, it provides you a massive stick of 44.1% crit rate, which is going to help you significantly when trying to balance your crit ratio. So provided the fact that you build enough EM on her, you're able to get 52% as a bonus attack for free. And now when your skill hits an enemy opponent, which you will be able to stack up quite easily, you're able to get a lot of attack from that as well, which can help you further get closer to the actual amount you need to get the full effect of her Moonside base increase, or just to get more to give even more EM to herself and also the active party member, which makes this option another very, very powerful option. For the rest of the 5 stars, you can really just equip any other 5-star crit stick that you do have, such as Staff of Homa or even Primordial Jade Wing Spear. Other than that, you can also use something like Favonius Lance, providing 565 base attack and 30.6% ER, and the effect will be able to generate elemental particles when dealing a crit and can occur every 6 seconds. You do want to build a solid amount of ER on Ineffa, and this actually helps you a lot. On top of that, you get the elemental particles generation, which is not only going to be good for Ineffa herself, it's going to significantly help any other teammates that might have lower ER, and especially is going to be super good for getting your ultimate for the first time in something like Stygian Onslaught, where you don't start with energy. Using something like Missive Wind Spear also does work really well. Mine is unleveled here, but the base attack when it is fully leveled at 90 is a total of 510, and the attack percent increase is 41.3%. The effect within 10 seconds after triggering an elemental reaction, attack will be increased by 24% and EM will be increased by 96. So it really just gives you a bunch of attack for a 4-star, and also does give you some EM on top of that. 2 stats that are very important to building Ineffa, so that's why this option is also very, very solid on her if you're not looking at any of the other options. You can also use Deathmatch on her from the Battle Pass if you do have it. Lower sided base attack of 454. Crit rate increase is very big of 36.8%, and the effect can increase attack based on the amount of enemies that are nearby and also defense. 2 or more will give you 32% increase to attack and defense at S5, and if there's fewer than 2, so just 1, it's 48% for attack. So this can also help you with a bunch of attack and also provide you a lot of crit rate. When you are running this weapon, just be sure she is active so you can see the effect for the actual attack stat. Since if she's not equipped and you equip this, I can show you an example here, it's not going to actually have the effect since, you know, she's not equipped here. I have a different team active, so the attack looks very low. But if I go ahead and just equip any team that does have her for the equipping effect, you can see that it's going to actually increase the effect, and now you can see her attack is significantly higher. Same thing applies to any actual weapon that works similarly. You can also use the Inazuma craftable weapon. When fully leveled is 565 base attack and 110 EM, and the effect will increase elemental skill damage. After the skill hits an opponent, the character will lose 3 energy but regenerates 3 energy every 2 seconds for the next 6 seconds and will occur every 10 seconds. It can be triggered when the character is not on field. So just makes your skill hit more, you're able to lose 3 energy but you gain more back. And as Ineffa is also an off-field Electro applicator / DPS, you are going to frequently be dealing off-field damage, of course, which is going to help you trigger the effect a lot when she is not on field, which once again will not only help her for her energy, will also help your active teammate for more energy if you have lower ER on them as well, making this option also usable. When taking a look at what artifact sets you want to run, the Silken Moon Serenade is going to be the most common. The 2-piece provides 20% energy regen, 4-piece when dealing elemental damage, gain the Gleaming Moon Devotion effect for 8 seconds, which will increase all party members' elemental mastery by 60/120 when party's moon sign is Nascent Gleam / Ascendant Gleam. The equipping character can trigger this effect while off-field. All party members' lunar reaction damage is increased by 10% for each Gleaming Moon effect that the party members do have, and effects of Gleaming Moon cannot stack. Everything this set is providing is very good to Ineffa's role. 100% energy regen from the 2-piece is going to help you significantly when trying to build ER on her, just so you can ensure her burst is up for long enough, or at least ready for when you need to use it. You get up to 120 EM for your entire team, which usually you're always using her on these teams that have lunar reaction damage, in her case Lunar Electro Charge. Really any team you run her on is going to benefit from EM, so the 120 EM you're able to give as long as you have Ascendant Gleam is very good. And with Ineffa, and really any non-cry character, if you're running a character on the team, usually you always are going to have Ascendant Gleam since you're always running some combination to get the full effects of their actual passives as well, depending on the character. On top of that, you are now also able to increase the team's lunar reaction damage by 10%. The only thing you want to be aware when you are using the set is you are not allowed to use the set on anyone else if it is on Ineffa, since it does not stack. So you can only have this on Ineffa if you have it on, let's say, someone like Loma already. If your set is on Loma, you don't want to put this on Ineffa because it already is going to be active from Loma's effect, so you cannot actually have any of the stats. attack. So be aware when you are using this, otherwise she is the most common holder of this artifact set. Another set you can use is the brand new Morningstar set. 2-piece increases EM by 80, 4-piece when the equipping character is off field, lunar reaction damage is increased by 20% when the party's moon sign level is at least Ascendant Gleam. Lunar reaction damage will be further increased by 40%, and the effect disappears after the equipping character is active for 3 seconds. 2-piece is EM increase, so that's going to be great for the lunar reaction damage. That's going to be great for just building an Ineffa in general. And the 4-piece can provide you up to a massive increase of 40% increase to lunar reaction damage as long as the character is off field. And of course, if you have Ascendant Gleam, which should not be a problem. The reason you can run the set is because Ineffa actually does do a lot of damage, so increasing her damage is actually not even a bad idea. And this set is perfect for characters that are off field triggering lunar reaction damage that also do good damage at the same time. And Ineffa actually does do just that. So if you already have the Silken Moon set on someone else, and you want Ineffa to do more damage overall throughout a rotation, this can be really good since Ineffa's field time is very short. You just skill, alt, leave. So this is another really good option to run on her. You can also run 4-piece Gildan on her as well, with the 2-piece increasing EM by 80, and the 4-piece within 8 seconds of triggering an elemental reaction, the equipping character will obtain buffs based off the elemental type of the other party members on the team. Attack is increased by 14% for each member that is the same elemental type as the wearer, and EM will be increased by 50 for each party member that is a different type. Each of the aforementioned buffs will account up to 3 characters. The effect is triggered once every 8 seconds, and the character who equips this can trigger it off field. Just like I mentioned with the Morningstar set, the EM increase is just overall good, and this can provide you 2 different stats that are very beneficial to Ineffa. The attack percent increase is great for her damage overall, and also for her buffing capabilities, while the EM is also just great for her damage as well, especially the lunar damage that she does do. And since it's able to trigger off field, that works perfectly with Ineffa's playstyle. And so really, no matter the team combination, you're going to get a benefit from this. More different types of teammates is just going to have you get more attack, which can increase your buff for both Ineffa and also the active party member, while getting the EM increase is just going to be good for the lunar reaction damage that she is dealing. So overall, also a very good set you can use. Other than that, you can do combinations of 2-piece, 2-piece. That depends on what you want to do. Like you can do 2-piece EM with 2-piece attack, 2-piece EM, 2-piece EM, 2-piece attack, 2-piece attack, whatever your goals are. If you already have the attack goal without the 2-piece attack, then you don't need to run 2-piece attack, obviously. So you can do any of those ones mentioned, and you can also do 2-piece emblem because the ER increase is also nice. Same thing applies to 2-piece Silken because it also has the same 2-piece. So if your ER is a bit low but your other stats are looking good, you can run 2-piece of one of those for better ER. Now for the main stats on the artifact sets. For the sands, you can do either attack percent, elemental mastery, or energy recharge. Attack percent is going to be the most common, but if you are able to reach 2000 attack at least, without the help of attack percent sands, in that case, you are able to run something else. Since 2000 attack is the bare minimum you want to hit, because that is how you max out her moon sign passive. So if you are able to reach 2000 attack without it, in that case, you can run EM if you just want better damage in that case as well, or if you're running something like Staff of Scarlet Sands, where it can convert it to attack, that also works. Or if your energy recharge is very low on your build but your other stats are looking good, in that case you can also run energy recharge. For the goblet, you can do attack percent or elemental mastery. Same thing applies. If you have 2000 attack or higher already, you can run EM instead, or something with Sino signature weapon for the EM. And then for the circlet, you want to run crit. For the substats, you are mainly going to focus on attack, elemental mastery, energy recharge, and crit. Your main attack goal is just going to be getting the 2000 attack or higher just to fully max out her moon sign passive. Getting more than that is also very much welcome, because the more you have, the more EM buff you can give to Ineffa herself and also your active party members, so keep that in mind. Energy recharge is also probably the most important thing. This of course depends on your team, how many Favonius weapons you're running, if you're running Favonius on Ineffa herself, but a good general range to assume no Favonius and also nothing else really helping. In that case, you can just get around 170%. You can lower that amount if you're running Favonius again, and that's Favonius on her, Favonius on anyone else. The more you have, the lower you can go. But if you are running her in something like Stygian Onslaught, where once again you do not have any energy starting off, getting even higher than that can be recommended. For elemental mastery, really just get as much as you can. A healthy range is around 200 to 300. If you're able to get more than that, that's great. And for crit damage, get that as high as possible as well. Around 150% to 200% is great. Even higher than that, even better. Now for team building with Ineffa, the main team she's going to go on is teams with Electro Charged, so she can convert it to Lunar Charged or just be the really best unit on those teams. And the first example I'm going to give you is of course the character that she works the best with, which is going to be Flynn's as the main Electro Charged DPS. The third slot is usually always going to go to Sucrose, since Sucrose works really good on these teams with the EM buff and also being able to hold Veritas and Venerer. And the last slot would go to Columbina if you do have her. I'm recording this before Columbina does release, but Columbina would go in these slots, but otherwise you can also use Ino. Ino is completely fine in that slot as well, and was the unit you would use before Columbina anyways. So in this slot with Ino, it would either be Ino or especially Columbina. Columbina is of course the upgrade. Of course, you don't just have to run her with Flynn's, you can also do a comp of someone that isn't actually just purely Lunar Charge DPS and they work otherwise. Perfect example of that is going to be the man himself, Nuvalet. Nuvalet teams with Ineffa works really well. It's relatively flexible, but the main little trio is going to be Ineffa, Nuvalet, and then the last slot usually would go to someone like Shalonen for her shred. Last slot would usually go to another Hydro option. Usually in my case, I would say put Furina on here, but the thing you want to know about Furina and also Kazuha is their damage buffs is unfortunately not going to impact lunar damage. They still do impact on the team though. Like the actual elemental damage is fine, Nuvalet's damage itself is going to be increased, but the lunar charge damage they are dealing is not going to be affected by their damage bonuses. So you can still run a team like this, but again, just do know it's not going to be buffed, but you can run a team like this. You can also run an Electro Charge for someone like Chlorine as well. Chlorine works great with Electro Charge, so it'd be Ineffa and Chlorine. Then you would need someone to apply Hydro. In the slot could be Columbina again. You can also put Ino there as well if you want the lunar charge damage to do more damage. But if you just want the high Hydro app that pairs very well with Chlorine, Xingqiu also works very good. So again, Columbina, Ino, Xingqiu, all great options. Columbina overall would be the best. And then the last slot can just go to Shalonen as well, since you do have two of the same elements here, so it works out. You don't strictly have to use her with these teams though, you can also just use her as a role as an Electro applicator and can run something like Overload. So I'm not going to put the Overload DPS since there's a bunch you can run, so imagine the second slot is going to be the Overload DPS. And then you can of course do Chevreuse and then Janssen or Bennett. So the team would be something like this. Chevreuse practically always non-negotiable on these Overload teams. Bennett or Janssen both work really good. And then of course the slot here could be your Overload DPS depending on who you are running. You can also throw her as a procer for Blooms, so if you want to run her alongside blue teams with someone like Lalma, you can do that as well, so it could be these two. Then you need Hydro in this case, so you can run Columbina, or if you just want Hydro app, you can use Xingqiu. You can also use someone like Kokomi even to be on field. Usually Nahida also would be on this team, so it could be something like this, and then the last slot could be Hydro, again Columbina, Xingqiu, so on. And that was the full 6.3 updated Ineffa guide. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Genshin Impact content. Check the description to join the Discord, and I'll see you later. Peace out.